Well, if you're watching this, no, I am not dead. I just have not had a minute to make a video, and a lot has changed with that car, the car that used to be back there, the car that's out in the driveway, and a million other things. But exciting news to share. This year, we are taking that on Power Tour. I haven't been to Power Tour for 10 years plus. And so with that being 3 weeks away, there's a few things that need buttoned up on that car to get it ready. And this place is a complete disaster. So before we start chugging away on fixing things that need to be done on the 73, we're gonna get this place cleaned up. Well, now this place is actually cleaned up, I can think. I don't know about you guys, but if this place is a disaster, it just makes it 10 times harder to get anything done around here. So before we dive into the list of things to knock out on the car, give you guys a little bit of an update on the previous project. If you all remember, I had a 72 that was just a shell, and the goal was to teach myself how to weld, do some body work, etc. And ultimately last fall, I ended up sending that car the marketplace route. I did get it all back together though. I ended up refinishing the subframe and getting all of the components to make it a roller again. Got a set of wheels put on it, and installed the doors, fenders, front clip, etc. And ultimately, like I said, sent that down the marketplace route. I just have had way too much commitments from work, and knew that if I wanted to be able to do anything to this car at all, that something had to give. So I'll post a picture of it here for you guys to see what it looked like right before I sent it packing. Unfortunately, I already regret getting rid of it, but I haven't exactly gotten more time to work on anything either, so it probably would have still looked like it did the day I got rid of it. So I'll put that right here for you guys to take a quick look, and then we'll dive into what needs to happen with the 73 before June 7th, I think is that Sunday before day one Power Tour. Okay, so first up, obviously, oil change. Usually do that once a year. I don't put enough miles on it to justify it otherwise. Already started a couple things under here. First one was making sure I didn't have any leaks anywhere. So I've done a full leak check underneath the block and around all of the sensors and etc. And actually did find one leak, well two, both of them on the valve covers. So I've got to do some work to seal up these barbs on the PCV valves. Surprisingly, the valve cover gaskets actually have never leaked, but both barbs are. So I'm gonna clean these up and probably try to tape this off and just JB weld around both of them, both of the barbs there. And it's not like a ton of fluid anywhere by any means, but it does get in the valley of the intake on both sides a little bit, I've noticed. So gonna get that done here, and then the probably more important of them things to do is the rear drum brakes. One of them is leaking on the passenger side, so I got two. Just replace both of them while we're at it. Hopefully that's semi-pain free. I actually have not opened up the drums on this since I've bought this car the second time. So hopefully they're still usable and I don't need shoes and springs, etc. But at least gonna replace those. And then as far as the front brakes go, these things have held up extremely well. These are the C6 calipers and rotor setup, and I got everything from Power Stop, and then I actually bought the, I don't know if I can get this on camera or not, the bracket here, as you can see. I'll have to look for the name of that company again. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but they make a bracket that allows you to mount this exact setup to your drum spindles on 68 to 74 Novas. And this has been a phenomenal upgrade. I kept everything manual. So I've got the Willwood manual master cylinder, and then it's got the adjustable prop valve on it, which is pretty cool if you want to shut off your rear brakes completely. And then, like I said, it's not power assisted in any way, but this thing stops on a dime without it. All right, little wax and grease remover. Cleaned those up, taped it off to make a nice little square. Gooped it up with some JB Weld. Hopefully this will solve that little bit of leaking that we had going on. Let these dry up before we put them on the car. Now this is one thing that I already did get done for Power Tour, and that is I have eliminated the old fuel cell setup that was in the trunk before and replaced it with a actual tank from a 70 Nova. So I got this tank off of the old, good old marketplace. It's an EFI tank from Tanks Inc. actually. And let's see if I can get a better view. There we go. So the one issue with this car is 73 tanks obviously would be the way to go. And I've got 72 bumpers. So I actually had to put a hole right there in that center piece of metal that is replacing the old filler neck setup from the 73. And in the trunk, the reason why I can't run a 73 tank is this actually has had a section cut out, and therefore that tank is not possible to run in this car anymore due to the shape. Now, because of that, I had a little bit of worry around the structural rigidity of the floor with this patch metal in here. And so I had a buddy of mine cut me some thick steel plates, and I've got one there and one there. And then I was actually able to use the original strap locations for the other side. And then I ended up getting this flexible fuel filler neck to be able to do my routing the way I wanted to. And then these are just actually Tanks Inc. universal straps that I've cut to length. And so far it's worked out great. Only problem is when I bought the tank, I put in a brand new fuel pump, but I used the sender that was in it already. And now I have no gas gauge. So it's reading 999 ohms, which tells me either my ground is bad or the sender itself is bad. So I've got a sender over there on the bench as well, and that'll be another item to knock out to get the car ready. So the good news is this side is not leaking at all, and that wheel cylinder has been replaced for sure. It looks like the same silver paint or whatever that material is they used to build these out of, that the AC Delco ones are that I've got over on the shelf. Pads, or the shoes, I guess, look pretty good. Lots of material left on this side. However, rolling over here, it's a different story, and this is the one that I noticed was leaking. Little cylinder back there. And it is a big old mess inside here. So, gonna pull this side all apart. And actually that spring fell out when I opened this drum. So I think that's the one that goes above the adjuster on the bottom. Hopefully it's still good, and maybe it just wasn't in there correctly. Shoes look good on this side too. So I'm just gonna pull this side apart so we can get to that wheel cylinder and get that leaky mess replaced. Well, I had originally thought that this was the culprit because it looks dirty, right? Thought for sure that was where the fluid is coming from. Turns out you've got an axle seal leaking. So somehow that fluid is all making its way on the backing plate. Not really sure how. Somewhere through the mounting bolts there potentially, or through, there's that small gap if you look right through there. It's probably weeping through there. So, got the differential opened up now. Gonna try to separate the axle, pop out the C-clip, pull this out, and I guess now we're replacing the axle seal instead. All right, so I got the axle out. Not too bad, surprisingly. Of course, when you have a specialized tool, seal puller, aka flathead screwdriver, things actually went pretty smoothly. So just need to look at the part number on this seal, go pick up a new one, check that bearing out, make sure it's still okay. I think it is, and I think that wheel cylinder is actually still good. So we'll hit this with some cleaner and get that seal replaced. So while I'm waiting for the seal to get here from O'Reilly's, I'm going to move on to the next thing that I need to work on, which is my turn signal. Whoops, didn't want to turn on the fuel supply there. When I turn on my turn signal to go left and I barely move the wheel, it cancels immediately. It's really frustrating when you go into like a left turn lane and it cancels right away. So I believe, because I had the issue with the turning right for a long period of time, I think I overcompensated readjusting the rag joint. So I'm going to unhook that, turn it over, I think one bolt jump over to the left, and it should cancel that, or at least I shouldn't say cancel, should prevent it from canceling prematurely. So I'm gonna start doing that next. Okay, got the rag joint moved over one notch, which, by the way, if you've ever done this before by yourself, it's a blast. You gotta drop the column, you gotta take off the trim plate there, and then the actual part that mounts the column or secures the column area around the firewall there. There's some really big washer style bolts. You might be able to see one of them. Yep, up there. So there's 4 of those guys. Got to take those 2 off to actually be able to drop the column down, in addition to the big bolt that holds it on either side of the column to the dash frame. So now, got to still center the steering wheel, but if I turn on my left blinker, you'll see it cancels at like a regular interval. If I turn my right blinker, same thing. So I think it's better. We'll see. It's definitely better than it was before, at least, but I don't think it can go any further, because then I think it'll start canceling too quick on the right side. But I need to center the steering wheel now. The wheel is actually in the correct direction. The wheels are, or I should say the brakes are both straight. The alignment is as close to straight as possible. Just need to literally flip this over. So hopefully the bolt pattern will line up. Doesn't look very promising now that I'm looking at it. So this might actually end up being worse. We'll see. Okay, got the wheel mounted the correct direction. It actually seems like this might be perfectly aligned now. If I look at my front wheels, that one's straight. That one's straight. So I think we might be okay. So I got the left blinker on, half a turn, right blinker on, half a turn. See if it does it sooner. Quarter turn. Nope. See, now it might be too much to the right again. I don't know. We'll have to see once I'm actually driving it. Yeah, I might have just gone back to where it was at before. Fun. Okay. Seal is in. C-clip I think is in. Yep. Okay. Pull that out. Our center. Give her a little tappy tap. Oh, no, she doesn't want to go. It's not be perfectly lined up. Huh. I have to borrow my light here for a second.
Okay, much better. I actually had to slide the axle out a little bit. It was still making contact with that center pin. So I got that knocked in slowly. Of course, you gotta be very careful. And then I put in the retainer bolt there on the right side. It's 5/16 by the way, if you ever have to pull this out. Gonna clean up the mating surface here and get the gasket and the cover put back on and start filling this back up with some fluid. I don't think I'm gonna have enough to fill it all the way up, but use what I have and then figure out how much left I need to buy.
First time I made the mistake of trying to reuse that paper gasket, which I've drained this before and refilled it with new fluid, and that's a new gasket within the last couple of years. But since it's that fiber paper stuff, it leaked pretty much immediately after. So pulled it back off, got a nice thick bead of RTV. Gonna slam this back on, tighten it up, and let it sit for a little bit before I fill it up with those new bags back there. Something else I've been putting off and need to do is those disc brakes put off a decent amount of dust compared to the drums did. So for the first time since I've done that swap, I pulled this front set of wheels off, obviously. I'm gonna take advantage of that by cleaning them up. This one's done, but you can see just how much dirt and grime has built up inside there. So I'm gonna clean the back of these up, and then of course the front, get all the tire shine off, and that way I can put some new stuff on it for the season. So much better. Like they're brand new all over again. That's what happens when you've only put a couple thousand miles on these wheels. Which, by the way, if you've ever been curious about what these are, because nobody really shares a lot of information on their wheels and tire setup, these are Vision Rally. I think, I can't remember if there's a number behind that or not, but these are 17s. Put 17x7s in the front, 17x8s in the back. But big difference. And they look great with the rally caps, in my opinion. Car had 15s on it when I had it in high school with rallies, and so I really wanted that look again, but bigger wheel, of course. So this fit the bill. So I got the fronts back on, waiting to put the rears back on until I get the tank done, but it just filled up. The rear end took a little over 2 of these guys, just a little bit past 2. So the worst job left to do is you have to drop that tank a little bit and see what's going on. Either the sender that is in there now, the ground is not adequate, or I've got to put that new sender in the box in. So wish me luck as I start to get this tank dropped down. This is honestly one of the worst things to do by yourself. Finally, some good news. Just mocked this up real quick. Don't have the wiring permanently hooked up yet, but it's hooked up, and I actually have a gas gauge now. So replacing the sender was definitely needed. I tried wiggling around the grounds back there in the sender wire, and yeah, it was clearly bad. If you look at the old one, it is very, very scaly, and who knows, something internally just went kaput, and actually there's some pretty good scale on there. So this is pretty old. So definitely need to change. Should have done it when I put the tank in to begin with, but I didn't, so lesson learned. Okay, well, I figured out the secret to putting in a gas tank by yourself, especially one that's around 3/4 of the way full. Use one jack at the back, then use that jack to prop up the second jack. Literally the fastest way I've ever done this. Threw the jack stands underneath of it at different points in case it came loose at all. But literally this was the fastest I've ever put a gas tank in a car. Granted, I've only done it a few times now, but it was. So, you know, results may vary. Wiring is all cleaned up. Fuel lines are all reconnected and routed nice and tight. Everything is good to go. Let's go ahead and fire this bad boy up. It's been a while. Oh, forgot I pulled the relay. That might help. so it's officially been a few days, but the car is all wrapped up, ready to go on power tour. Super excited. Haven't been in years. Will be a first time for this car and a first time with me bringing my own vehicle. I've always ridden with somebody else. So really excited for the opportunity to be able to take the car this year. The last thing I've got to do is I've got to get the original spare out from the attic and go get a new piece of rubber mounted on that. So we've got something just in case. But look forward to the trip, the experience, and putting this car to the test. Hopefully no major issues, and can say that the overall trip is a success. And we'll share more, of course, at the conclusion. Thanks for watching.